was 4 months old, my mother drowned in Lake Charles, or so I was told by my father.
Just like that, it happened within 1 second or 2 at the most.
Felix, what happened to Mary?
So here I am, life.
October 28, 1962, Felix Vail tells police his wife Mary drowned in the Kplc River. Was it an accident or something more sinister? And if it was murder, how would investigators prosecute a 50-year-old case?
We grew up in a little town where dogs ran free. You could ride around town on your bicycle. Everybody thought the best of each other. Yes, ma'am, and yes, sir was everywhere. Being polite and nice to people was the persona of where we lived.
It was the 1950s, a time when home video was more of a luxury than the norm. And while Will cherishes the scenes of happier times and family vacations, he says it's the simple things that he remembers most about Mary.
I was a spoiled little brother.
But 6 hours and almost a whole other world away, Mary's future husband, Felix Vail, was being raised on a farm in Clay County, Mississippi.
We went to school, the same school, but he was 2 or 3 years ahead of me. He just was a psycho.
To hear Felix's side of that story, we'd have to go behind the walls of the Angola State Penitentiary.
Be my woman, girl, I'll be your man. Be my woman, girl, I'll be your man.
I was off from the refinery and I had fishing lines, trot lines you call them. And so I was going out to take them up. And we had to go all the way across the lake to get to the river under the big arch bridge there. She was on her, sitting on her calves, and she kind of raised up and pointed and said, "There's one." And just like that, it happened within 1 second or 2 at the most. It threw the boat sideways and toppled her in. It had already taken her out of, deeper than I could go or deeper than I went. So that's it. She was gone, and I knew the river had her, and I came back across the lake and put the boat in the shed and got my car and went to the sheriff's office and filed an accident report and went to the babysitter and got Bill and just held him the rest of the night.
The 1962 death of Mary Horton Vail was initially ruled an accidental drowning. While investigators weren't convinced, there wasn't much they could do at the time. So the case just seemed to disappear along with much of the evidence. But in 2013, one of the oldest cold cases in U.S. history would reemerge, along with a broader picture of the life and loves of Felix Vail.
And I overheard him just sobbing, which caught my attention, and he told her that he had murdered my mother.
That's an easy motive. I'm taking out a big policy. I don't want to be married anymore anyway. I'm going to go ahead and murder her. It's also pretty easy to figure out why he murdered wife Annette Craver Vail. That was money. The question is, why does he murder Sharon? Because Sharon's a hippie and she didn't have any money.
I've just reached a point where I just have no feelings for Felix whatsoever. And I know Mary would have much preferred that than me to be burning with hate and ugliness and all that kind of stuff. So I just put it away.
Reflecting instead on the undying love between a mother and son.